In this video, I'm going to be giving away this $2,000 PewDiePie gaming PC to one of you. Details later in the video. So, why are we doing this? Why am I giving away a computer under someone else's name? Number one, I am a long-time PewDiePie fan. I actually remember subscribing to him just before he hit 100,000 subscribers. I don't know what it was about him, but every single time I watched one of his videos, I would always wait for the moment for him to run into a chair, a barrel, or that little gold statue thing that I can't remember the name of for the life of me.
Oh my God.
When I was 18, the Brofist was a huge part of my life, so for that, thank you. Number two, I've been seeing all these do your part videos and I think they're absolutely amazing. I'm not a large channel at all, and I know this video won't even slightly affect PewDiePie's subscriber count, but at the very least, someone's gonna get something good out of it. And number three, which I think is the most important one, is I wanna put an act of kindness out there that specifically stems from PewDiePie's fan base. Here's why. I was actually reaching out to a sponsor to try and help offset the cost of this video, and they replied by telling me that they didn't want anything to do with the PewDiePie name. So I thought, oh, okay, I guess that's from the slip up he had on stream a couple years ago. But instead they responded by telling me it was because the shooter referenced PewDiePie's name before the New Zealand tragedy. So something he had absolutely no control over was now affecting me trying to do something positive. Anyways, I tried to explain my intention with this video to that sponsor and they proceeded to ghost me. So congratulations, Mr. Sponsor. If you are watching this, you and my ex-girlfriend now have a lot in common. But enough of that, let's get started. So the first thing we have to do is figure out how we want it to look and how we're gonna bring that into reality. Now, normally you don't start a build this way, but the first thing we need to pick out is a case. We need to get something we can paint, modify, and will fit all of the parts that we could potentially buy. After looking up a few options, we're gonna go with the NZXT H700i. It's got a ton of space, it's got a clean and simple shape, and most importantly, it has a lot of empty panel space for us to get creative. Next up, we gotta fill it out, which is a bit more complicated. Number one, we need to find parts that are capable of gaming, streaming, and content creation. You can't make a themed build and then throw shitty parts into it. Number two, the parts also need to match the color scheme. PewDiePie has his well-known black and dark pink swirl on his gaming chair, as well as the light blue on his Brofist logo. So while we're able to paint a lot of the parts later, there are certain parts inside the computer that we're not gonna be able to touch with paint, so we need to make sure that we buy them the correct color. And number three, we need to try and find some of these parts on sale because this is hashtag not sponsored. So before I take the next week to find some flash sales, now we need to design the case. From what I've searched on the internet, PewDiePie themed builds have been done before, but not quite like how I think they should be done. I think what would actually work best is actually kind of his simple wavy design that comes with a lot of the black and dark pink swirls. And then I also think we'll have this accompanied by his Brofist logo. Now I actually have a little variation in mind for the Brofist, but I'll keep that a surprise for later. Also, for those of you that don't know, every 10 million subscribers, PewDiePie puts out a new series of merch as sort of a milestone. So in following that theme, we're gonna try to incorporate the 100 million subscribers in here. And then we'll see where on the panels it makes sense to put that. I wanna try and copy the font that he actually has going with this little P surrounding the Brofist. So I think a nice thick 100 will probably work well. Something like that. And then we'll see later if we have any space to kind of fit this inside the build as well. So now that we have an idea of how this is gonna look, how do we get the design on there? Well, I've actually done a ton of research concerning image transfer methods. I've looked up hydrographic film, but that kind of is heavily dependent on water RNG for a clear and accurate transfer. And I've looked up sublimination dye printing as well, but I don't exactly have money for a $30,000 printer. So What do we do? Well, lately I've been fanboying on Twitter at an account called V1Tech, and it turns out they actually have a business dedicated specifically for this kind of thing. And from what I could tell off their latest posts, they're pros. So I actually shot over an email seeing if they could help us out, and they replied saying I can give them a call. But in the meantime, I'm gonna see if I can get a digital copy of this made.
Hello?
Hey, Hassan.
Hey, how's it going, man?
How you doing? This is Christopher Yee.
It's good to hear from you.
Awesome. Yeah. So I just had a question. So I've been checking out some of your stuff for probably the last month now or so, and I actually got recommended in my Twitter feed your guys' build on the Apex Legends theme PC.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. So it looks phenomenal. I'm pretty sure you guys know you're pretty much the only people who really do it to that extent, and I saw some of the stuff that you guys can do with like graphics cards and fan shroud or grills, and just I was wondering, I have a kind of a big project coming up here, and I was wondering, would it be possible to use you guys for an upcoming video?
Yeah, of course. That's what we're here for. I mean, we can customize whatever mod parts you need to make the build uniquely your own, and I think we're going to be the best solution for being able to do that for you.
Okay, perfect. So I checked out some of the stuff on your website. Should I just I have a design ready to go. Do I just go through the website and place through there?
Yeah, you can go to any of our custom configurators, upload the graphics, and just go right through there, and we'll go ahead and take that mock-up and create the actual products from it.
Okay.
Ship it to you.
Awesome. Perfect. I appreciate it so much, dude. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Awesome.
Good to hear from you, Chris.
Thank you.
Take care.
Holy shit. Look at all this stuff. Oh my god. All right. Well, we've got everything here, I think. Now, for those of you who are paying careful attention, you might notice, hey, Chris, there's 3 computer cases here. I thought you were only building 1 computer. Surprise, bitch. I'm giving away 3. But before we bring all this stuff inside, there's one important package that we have to open up right here first. Perfect. Now we can get started. So we'll unbox everything and then we'll go over what we got. Already unboxed. All right, let's talk about computer number 1. This is our main event PC. Let's start with the core components. This computer is going to be rocking a Ryzen 7 1700. It is an 8-core, 16-thread processor, which will be more than capable of anything you decide to throw at it, whether it's video game, content creation, or streaming. And this processor is going to be going inside our ASRock X370 motherboard, which fortunately fits our kind of black and red color scheme, which I guess we're now going for because dark pink is kind of hard to find, but this honestly looks close enough. Plus it comes with some RGB accented colors, which we really appreciate. And it will be accompanied with 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM by Trident Z, or G-Scale. This is the Trident Z variant. It is clocked at 3200 megahertz speed, so this RAM will be more than capable to handle anything that this Ryzen 7 processor is going to need to be dishing out. And for the graphics, we ended up going with the MSI GeForce RTX 2070. So yes, this system will have the wonderful ray tracing technology that we're all aspiring towards. I don't even have an RTX card in my own personal system. And cooling our Ryzen 7 1700 is going to be a Kraken X52, which does come with the CAM software that is going to be controlling all the NZXT products you see here. So the fans, the H700i case, all can be controlled by a software made by NZXT. If you've never seen the patterns that software can make your lights do, make sure you watch to the end of the video to see. Now, I kind of already touched on it before, but you already know for our case, we're going to be using an NZXT H700i. And so for our storage, we are going to be going with an M.2 512 gigabyte SSD. Were you made by? Made by Micron. This should give anyone plenty of space for any games or programs they're going to be installing onto this system. And then finally, this computer is going to be powered by our 650 watt Rosewell power supply. It should have just enough power to run everything in this system, and it is 80+ bronze rated. Oh, and in case you haven't seen these before, we are going to be using the RGB air fans by NZXT as well. The NZXT H700i does already come pre-installed with fans, but they don't have RGB, and for our main event, we want to make this thing as RGB blinged out as possible. So that is system number one. Let's move on to the secondary systems. All right, so for our secondary systems, this thing is going to be built around a Ryzen 3 1200. It is a 4-core, 4-thread processor, and while it is not nearly as powerful as the Ryzen 7 1700, it is still more than capable of modern-day tasks. I've used it myself for some entry-level content creation, and for gaming, it's still just about fine with almost anything. I say almost anything, but to be honest, I haven't found a game that it really struggles with yet. However, it won't necessarily be able to handle streaming on its own, which is why we got this. This is an MSI RX 580. This is an 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 VRAM, which is more than enough to handle some streams. And obviously, if streaming doesn't interest you and you just plan on gaming, these two paired up together will be able to take on any game that you want to play that's out today. As for RAM, we have 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM by ADATA. This is clocked at 3000 megahertz speed frequency, which is again more than fast enough to help out our Ryzen processor get that extra FPS in games. As for our motherboard, everything you see here is going to be going into the B350 by MSI. This is the Gaming Plus variant, and like we did before, it has a black and red color scheme to help bring our whole aesthetic together. As for storage, this thing is going to be using another M.2, except this one is 256 gigabytes and is made by ADATA. For our power supply, this thing is going to be powered by an EVGA 500BR. It is again 80+ bronze rated, and it will be more than enough to power everything you see here. Now, coming back to our cooler, for those of you that know this specific processor, you already know that it comes with a very kind of plain looking AMD Wraith cooler. I wanted to make this thing look nice, so we actually ended up ordering the AMD Wraith Prism cooler, which if you've seen them before, look absolutely stunning. And then finally coming to our case, this is again going inside an NZXT case. However, this is the H500i. Like the H700i, it does have the Cam Smart lights, so you will be able to change the colors to whatever you choose. And like I've said before, if you haven't seen what the Cam software can do, you really need to check it out when these things are finished, because they look absolutely amazing. Now, yes, I do have our custom modded pieces from V1 Tech down below, but I'm not gonna show them to you yet because I want you to see them at their full potential when they are installed and have everything going on. So without further ado, let's start the building time lapse. Oh, man. Before I give you some direct close-ups, I have to finish putting on the side panels for the case, and then you'll get to look at everything. Holy shit. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Holy shit. I have to peel this off, hold on. Okay, so if you guys can't see, obviously you're gonna get a close-up, but we've got RGB out the ass on this system. We've got an NZXT strip down the side, NZXT strip up top. We've got our custom GPU backplate with an RGB fucking Brofist, with another RGB Brofist down here for the SSD cover, as well as an RGB GPU support bracket with the Social Blade 100 million subscribers. Oh my God. I'll try to set this thing up so that it's completely rainbow RGB'd out, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it then. Okay, so I've gone ahead and installed Windows as well as a few games and picked out some desktop wallpaper that is befitting of this build. And now it is time to test it. You've seen how awesome it looks. Now we gotta see if it can perform the same way. This thing performs amazing. The new RTX cards are super powerful, and it definitely show that. In CSGO, we were getting around 300 FPS. In Apex Legends, we were getting around 144, 145 FPS. Again, these games are all on maxed out settings. Fortnite was getting around, I think, a little over 100 FPS. And then we threw in Minecraft there at the end just to see how high we could go. And we actually peaked at around 1700 FPS. Anyways, as you guys can see, this thing performs absolutely amazing. I'm sorry for the lack of Fortnite footage. I really don't like the game, and honestly, the only reason I tested it is because every time I open up Twitch, it's one of the most played games. And for those of you saying, Chris, you didn't test any RTX ray tracing games, well, look, I spent all my money on the computer parts, okay? If you want to see how well the computer performs with ray tracing on, just win the computer. But anyways, we've spent enough time with our main girl. It's time to move on to our side chick. We've got 2 more computers that we need to finish up here, and we're gonna get those started right now.
ooh, what if I'm late? Ooh, ooh, the one my heart has gone to may not want to wait, 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 wait. May not want to wait. Tico, tick. Oh, tico, 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 tock. Tico, tick. Oh, tico, 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 tock.
All right, so we have all of our panels on, and these secondary systems still look really amazing. Really quickly, I want to point out some things that I didn't address earlier. First thing you might not have noticed is that I actually have M.2 SSD covers inside each system. Now they're shaped like skinny rectangles, and the other thing that's shaped like a skinny rectangle is the subscribe button on YouTube. So I figured, considering the theme, it would make a nice little touch. And one last note, actually while building, I did unfortunately find out that some of the stuff I ordered did come damaged. We have our B350M motherboards, and actually, as it turns out, both of these things do not work. So we did replace them, and instead, whoever gets these things in the secondary systems will be getting Asus Prime B450Ms, which basically means you'll be able to upgrade your processor a little bit more if you choose to. Unfortunately, we do miss out on the black and red color scheme, as well as some small other features, but we had to make the compromise. Anyways, I've already installed Windows and the drivers on the system, so this one is ready to go. Now we need to build our last one. Okay, we're finally done. By the way, something I do at the end of most of my videos is a price breakdown of all the parts. So for those of you that are really curious, all of this costed about just under $4,000. Yikes. Anyways, what do you guys think? I really like the final product, but do you think I missed anything? Any memes or references I could have thrown in here, or anything I could have done to make it better? Thank you so much to Hassan and Corey at V1 Tech. You guys are amazing, and your products are even better. I'm glad that when I pitched the idea to you guys that you didn't shy away from the challenge. If you guys want any mods like you see here in the video, make sure you check out v1tech.com. If you want to buy anything for yourself, you get a discount if you use the code YEE, and it also gives me a little kickback. However, I'm not taking any of that money for myself. Anything that I make through that will be donated to the New Zealand Victims Fund. I will post the donation on Twitter at the end of the month. Now, let's get to the part that y'all really care about. How do you win one of these things? Subscribe to PewDiePie. You don't have to subscribe to me. You don't even have to follow any of my social medias. This is about Felix. I don't know about you, but I don't want to see some faceless corporation hold the #1 spot on my favorite social media platform. Now, to be honest, since YouTube's policy update last month, I can't actually make you subscribe to him. But a little birdie told me that the more YouTube accounts you have, the more entries you can submit in the giveaway. I also heard that if you end up winning the giveaway and you don't send screenshot proof that you're subscribed to PewDiePie, I might pretend I didn't see your entry and pick someone else. So as for the link, I can't directly link you from my description or my comments. Giveaway links that take you off the site are also against that new policy. However, I will be pinning a tweet to the top of my Twitter page with a link to the giveaway and all of the rest of the information there. My Twitter name is the same as my YouTube name. Normally I would just say my name, but half of you never spell it right. I will be drawing the winners live on my Twitch stream at the end of next month, as well as announcing them via Twitter. I assume the race to 100 million subscribers will be done by then. Again, you don't have to follow my stream. However, I will be giving the winners a 48-hour time period to respond to me claiming your prize. Otherwise, I will draw a new winner. So if you want a notification for when that will happen, then you probably should follow. Now you might think that's everything, but wait, there's more. If this video gets 1 million views, I will add another computer to the giveaway. And on the small chance that it does even better than that, I will add another PC for every subsequent million views, just as a little incentive for the 9-year-old army. Okay, that should be everything, but before I get going, to any of you guys that support my channel or who have been here for a while, thank you guys so much for your support. I'm working better all the time, every day, trying to become a better content creator so that anytime you guys click on one of my videos, it's not a waste of your time. And Felix, on the small chance that you watch this, I know you already have an amazing PC, but if you do want one of these, I would be more than happy to build you one free of charge as a thank you. Anyways, I hope you guys found this entertaining or informative in any way, shape, or form. And as always, have a great day.